Hey, it's Tim Terrio again, talking to Dr. Nick again about sports and getting maximal performance out of your efforts. And we've talked about goal setting and we've talked about burnout and some other things. But I think what I'd like to hit on today is the whole idea of this natural athlete idea versus nature versus nurture.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Because there's a lot of stuff out there about it. But you always hear people love to go back to, oh, that guy's a natural athlete.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why he's gotten where he is. But it seems like back to burnout that you always see at some point the people that seem to burn out are that they have a real rapid success rate.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden maybe they don't learn to work as hard.
Correct.
Or all of a sudden things start getting tough and they don't have that other level to go to.
Yeah.
So we'll hit it with we'll save the quote to the end because there's a famous Willie Mays quote that I think wraps it up. But
yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about the kid that. So my son's 11 right now, right, and he's playing in baseball, and there's just 12-year-old dominant kids,
Yeah.
and everybody sees these kids and they think, oh man, that kid's gonna play Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
At 12 years old, they got it figured out. But odds-wise, that's not gonna happen,
No,
right?
no, probably not.
So let's talk about that a little bit of goal setting. So if this kid, say, we were just talking about a little bit, if somebody's goal is to play, say your goal is, these 12-year-old kids, my goal is to be the starter on varsity in high school,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So they get there,
Mm-hmm.
and then what?
And I think then at that point you have to establish another set of goals, kind of ratchet it up a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So is it not only just to be a starter on varsity, but what else encompasses that? I want to have a batting average at this level. I want to be able to maybe improve my speed around the bases. I want to be able to make less errors. So I think even built into that, you can have smaller goals that can kind of propel you to the next level. So that maybe the next goal is, hey, I have these things in place. My next goal is to really be all league or all area or whatever. So as you increase, as you progress in your ability and your expertise, so to speak,
right,
then you also have to increase your goals too. You give an example of somebody, oh, I've always wanted to play at this level. Well, they've got there. Well, if that's what was all they wanted, they've got their goal, but you have to continue to ratchet up those
Because
goals.
it seems like everybody's goal, most guys' goals are, I'm going to play in the NFL, I'm going to play in the NHL, I'm going to play in Major League Baseball. But then you wonder what happens when they get there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you look at the average career. I think the NFL now, the average career is less than 3 years.
Yeah,
right?
something. Yeah. I think you're right on.
So injury's part of that, but
yeah,
what's the other part of that?
I think a lot of it is, what we talked about earlier is, I think you have to increase your training, your mentality to match that next level. And I think what happens, is a lot of guys physically might be at that level, but they still have to realize that they still have to improve. Whether it be improving their cognitive mindset, their ability to go endure, a higher level of performance, whether it be to endure the travel, not seeing family, the people that can often creep up when you make a lot of money.
Right.
All of those factors come into play, whereas those were maybe potentially factors in high school or college, they're tenfold now. So they have to still manage those areas of their lives that were problematic, that are probably going to be even more problematic.
So it comes back to that readjusting not only your goals but your plan, right?
Correct. That plan, and then also what we talked about earlier, and when we talked is, the idea of being able to have that balance in your life, being able to have that mental component, that social component, that incorporating nutrition, being able to continue to train hard. You got to be balanced in those areas.
Yeah, and back to that, my quote for natural athletes. I don't know if you've ever seen the quote from Willie Mays, but somebody asked him one time, so Willie, you're a natural athlete. And he said, well, yeah, I guess if working 8 hours a day for the last 20 years makes you a natural athlete, then I'm one.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll find that those individuals, such as Willie Mays, that are super successful, not only do they have a great amount of ability, but also an extremely high level in terms of their work ethic too. Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan, was another super competitive.
Jerry Rice was one, Montana, Walter Payton.
Yeah.
Emmett Smith. It amazes me when you see that, right? It's like you hear guy after guy, legend after legend, talking about what did you do to become a legend,
Yeah.
and they're same story.
Yeah. It's not necessarily
First guy in, last guy out.
Yeah, it's not
Extra
necessarily
work.
the strongest, fastest, any of those kind of things. It's the guy who just puts in that time and effort, pro-like or expert-like area in those
Absolutely.
areas. Yeah.
So once again, it's talent maybe, but grit and determination.
Absolutely, if not more.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks again.